Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're going to go into our third series right now where we have Mana up against Liquid Ret. Let's go ahead and get into it. The map will be Ohana Re. Really nice map, of course. A little bit of switch up Bumblebee, aka Mana. He's going to be in the bottom right-hand corner. Top left-hand corner, we have a Liquid Ret.
Do you know if these maps are available in Europe?
Yes.
So I wonder why Mana's on Bumblebee. You'd think the Polish player Mana would have a EU account, right?
I think they're playing in the US, though. Isn't Ret living in the US right now?
Oh, you could be correct. I know that he's heading home fairly soon if he hadn't already. But there's a good chance it's in the NA, and I think it defaults to NA, right? Or they alternate or something like that?
I think it defaults to NA.
Okay. Well, that would explain that. But big story here, Mana PVT specialist. He's actually pretty renowned for having, in comparison to his other world-class matchups, a weaker PVZ.
Yes.
He is by no means a slouch, but again, when you're comparing it to his top-notch PVT and PvP, this is where he's lacking. Now, Ret, on the other hand, is a phenomenal player in all three matchups with the following addendum, or asterisk, if you will.
Yes, go on.
He likes to make the drones, and this is, of course, an exaggeration to a certain extent, but it's also not an exaggeration. It's something that Ret has been criticized for and teased, and he's usually pretty annoyed with it, but I've asked him about it recently. He's like, actually, I just kind of accept it now. That is what I do.
Yep.
And if I'm able to get away with it, or if I'm able to sneak by my opponent with the amount of economy that he has, then he's going to be an absolute force to reckon with. But on the other hand, we see like Huck versus him at MLG Arena Winter Championship, or not the championship, but the MLG Winter Arena, where Huck actually does double, or in both games, 2-0. He went 8-gate. It hits at like the 9-minute mark. And it's just insanely, it's pretty all in. But if you're not making units a hell of a lot earlier in your Zerg player, and you didn't cut drones, you're probably dead. And those are things that Ret doesn't do. So those are the pros and the cons. That is what it is. I'd be interested to see if Man tries to punish that.
Yeah, I asked Ret, drones, best unit or greatest unit? He says only unit.
Oh, God. That's epic. That's the best response, actually.
Duh. He loves him in his drone. So we'll see that this game around. What I like about Ret is, like all really good macro players, you see this with Hasuabs, you see this with a lot of other players, but they are so aggressive in scouting and finding those little nuanced things. And hopefully we will be able to find out exactly what Ret is seeing. You can see Ret here has already started to assess what he's up against, and I'm sure he will put down that third hatch as soon as, yes, there it goes, the canceled pylon is removed. Are you all right there?
I'm having troubles with the stool. I'm back, though. It's fine. Now, I'll say this. I actually fairly recently had a show match against Ret.
Whoa.
Where he absolutely annihilated me. And part of the reason why that happened is he is head and shoulders better than most Zergs I play against at looking and finding that probe that's supposed to be dropping a pylon and scouting. If you can't get a pylon outside your base and get a feel for what the Zerg's doing, but further, if you can't punish them and stop them from building all these drones, I feel like Zergs sometimes make it look like it's actually impossible to beat them. And Ret does such a good job, of course, because he has so much practice, of getting that little advantage for himself. Now, I want to break away from this for a second. Ret is on double gas. He's on 2 bases. It has been scouted, okay? Mana knows that he's on 2 bases. He did not, however, see the fast layer or the gases, but Ret is going to do something cheesy.
Nidus.
I think Hydras.
You think Hydras? Hydra and Nidus?
Hydra and perhaps Nidus.
Oh, man, I will be so excited if that actually happens. One thing to note is Mana actually got up to see that there isn't a 4-minute third base.
Right.
And that is Ret's go-to normally. So something should be up in his head. He's like, oh, what are you doing, Ret? What are you doing?
And I wonder why Ret's trying to cheese on this map, to be honest with you, because this is a pretty good, if anything, this is a good ZVP map, just because of the third. But also it's Mana. You don't have to freak out and cheese him. But, I mean, if the cheese works here, it's going to mess up the psyche of Mana for the rest of the best of 3. This actually might be Muta's. Yeah, okay, Spire's queued up. It is Muta's.
Sweet merciful.
Interesting choice.
Interesting choice. Something we don't normally see from Ret. He likes to kind of mass up in that drone count and then go to to go to Roaches and Zerglings, but still a good choice overall. And I like what he's done with the Overlord. Get in here, see exactly what his opponent is capable of. He sees how much gas has actually been mined out of these two. It's all standard stuff.
Yeah.
Right now, I have to feel like Rhett is actually a little bit scared of what is to come.
Yes, this push is so strong by Mana. If this was just a probe trying to drop that pylon, it never gets up. But as it is, with this escort, it's going to get over here. There's 4 or 5 gateways behind it. I believe it's 4, yes. Twilight Council. So this is not an all-in by any means. And he scouts still no third. So he's like, maybe I can apply pressure at the natural. And what? Rhett just canceled both of his spine crawlers. Gosh, I hope he holds this off because that was some strange choice.
He was so confident with his decision, man. He's just like, nah, it's fake pressure. I'm not going to be bought into this.
This is real, though, man. It's here. Probes up here. It does drop the pylon. 3 zealots. No spine crawlers. Gosh, if those spine crawlers are here right now, this is not a big deal at all. Mutas are queued up to come out, but they are just now started. Going to work on those drones. Red's going to ignore the pylon for right now, trying to get at those units. That might have been the incorrect choice. Behind this, Mana is still just sitting on 4 gates. We're not going to see like a giant warp in, but this is snowballing. I think Rhett's dead, man. This is a lot of trouble. This is a lot of trouble. Now, 9 mutas are about to pop out here. That'll be the saving grace, of course. But the Zealots are still going to be able to do a lot of damage. Possibly take down this hatchery. You can see them with the Stalkers
down.
for sure.
Oh, my goodness. And the Stalkers are going to... Wow, this is crippling.
Yep.
Absolutely crippling.
If those are 4 more Zealots, I don't know that they kill this hatchery with this Stalkers. That little bit of time they bought. Yep, goes down.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a gigantic advantage coming out for Mana. Now, all he needs to do is just cannon up, get a ton of Stalkers, and make sure he's absolutely safe.
Yeah, just build Stalkers, basically. Cannons would be super safe. He's got one at his natural that covers the mineral line as well. He already has Blink 75% done. It's nearing completion. And this is not a gigantic Mutaforce. This is not like 15 or 20 mutas already. This is just a handful. From this position, Elliot could win as a Protoss.
Elliot, our producer?
Yeah, editor. What would you call him?
What do I call him? A nice young man.
Right. Now, Mana's just going to go ahead. He's not even worrying about that 4th gas. Why not? From this point forward, what he should do is make Stalkers for about 3 minutes, and then attack move, and maybe blink a little bit.
Maybe. He can really do it.
If he wants to get flashy, he can blink.
Really got it.
Rhett, on the other hand, is going to keep making mutas. He's going to try to go Roachhorn, but he's also rebuilding his natural at the same time. Obviously, he has the drones for it. He can resaturate that base almost immediately. But that's the least of his problems. Saturating that base is the least of his problems.
What's the most of his problems right now?
Surviving until then and not dying to this giant Stalker force.
Yeah. There you can see the blinks are just so powerful. It punishes Rhett for being ever so slightly out of position. I don't even know if you can say that.
Well, Rhett's just trying to buy time. He's like, hey, stay home. My mutas could kill stuff. But unfortunately, he doesn't have the money to rebuild the mutas, so that like, hey, you should stay home and really focus on my mutas is becoming less convincing. Yes. Because there's like 6 of them. And it's like, well, I'm not really that worried about your 6 mutas. You should be.
There's 6 Zerglings, so this combination attack might work out really well.
Together they make a dozen. But Mana's just going to go ahead and push out. I'd really like a pylon to be coming up with this. No need to take a third. Just do a 2-base push. If you want to feel super, super cheeky, you could throw it on a Templar Archive because there'd be 0 answer to Archon. But he is making roaches, so of course that would be the thing that I would do to make this look closer than it is. Mana's an amazing player.
He's just going to make Stalkers.
Not going to dabble.
Yeah. He's cool. He's cool.
Just going to keep making Stalkers.
3rd base goes down. He's blinking out. And basically he has the game all wrapped up. Mana playing very carefully, making sure that no little shenanigans happen. It's such a shame. Rhett had all the components to actually defend against that initial push. If he had the 2 spine crawlers just continue making... I really felt like Rhett thought, okay, well, this is just fake pressure. A lot of times it is fake pressure like that. Nobody really has the audacity to be so direct.
Yeah, but that pylon, man, it's just too dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, here's the other thing, too. Mana was with 4 gateways. There's a hell of a lot of Protoss that would have 6, 7, or even 8 gateways at that time. And the reason that we're even looking at this game at this stage, where it's like Rhett's not 100% dead just yet, is because it was only 4 gateways. If it was 6 or 8, this game would be over already. 5 or 6 mutas show up, you warp in 8 stalkers, get out. There's no chance in heck.
Get the ult. And this might be the last fight over here. Still a lot of stalkers, even though he's going into bad position. He can blink. Well, blink back.
Well, it's like a misblink, but it just doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Should just blink back the wounded guys, but whatever.
Whatever, man.
Impossible to lose from here. Big counterattack from Rhett, and it's just simply not going to be enough. Roach is over there. He's trading damage to the natural for the game. And not that I fault Red. I mean, he's got to try something, but
there it is.
In this case, that wasn't enough.
GG, ladies and gentlemen. So Rhett is going to fall for our first game, and we have ourselves a 1-0 lead for Mana. We're going to go into the second game. Very straightforward game, right?
I think we covered it.
Yeah.
We're good.
Very straightforward game. We're going to go into the second game after this, so stay tuned. We'll be back.